right. All right. Good evening. It's another pleasure, another opportunity to be with you on Rings That Bind. We do this every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. I'm thrilled. I often look forward to having these conversations because every time we have a different couple, we hear their story, their perspective from a different lens, and it just helps us have a broader scope to what marriages can be and how we can use these lessons, these learnings to improve the quality of the relationship we already have. And if we are struggling, it gives us hope. It makes you know that you can walk through whatever challenge you are facing. As long as the both of you are willing and you are partnering together to do so, you can work it out and have that marriage that you've always desired, that marriage that you've always dreamt of having. That's our dream. That's our goal on Rings That Bind. And that's why every Thursday we come to you with another couple sharing their story, their experience, their challenges, so that you get encouraged, you get inspired, and you have somewhere to learn from and utilize these learnings. Now, this is brought to you regularly by BridgeAfrique, Home of Bliss Incorporated, and PANACEA VILLE International. I am your host, Nancy Oblete. I'm a marriage coach and a behavioral change expert. So today we have another couple who will be sharing their fantastic story with us. They are none other than Rev Abiodun Ajibade and Reverend Mrs. Olubukola Ajibade. Please help me welcome these wonderful couples to Rings That Bind. You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Amma.
Yeah, we are honored to be with you today, and I believe we're going to have a wonderful time together.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for honoring the invitation to be here. Before we go ahead, can you please just introduce yourself? Let our listener get to meet you, know a bit about you.
Okay, let me start. Ajibade, and then I'm an architect, I'm a builder, I'm into business. I do a lot of things depending on how they come. You're talking of temperaments, I'm melancholy, with a bit of a choleric. So I'm strong-willed in a way. I'm practical, and at the same time conservative. Easygoing. I'm just that's me. Let me put it that way.
He's also a pastor.
Oh yes, I'm a pastor. How did I miss that one out? I'm a pastor, at a New Covenant Church. The residing pastor, over that satellite. We call it satellite. Over that satellite, I'm residing pastor there. Thank you.
Oh, nice to meet you, sir. Yes, ma. Can we meet you too?
Okay, my name is Olubukola Margaret Ajibade, and I'm a proprietress, and then I'm also a pastor. I serve under him.
Great.
Wow. Pleasure meeting the both of you. So we have something in common. I'm a builder, my husband is too. And
Wow.
he practices more than me because I focus more on what we do on PANACEA VILLE. But sometimes I still find myself on site doing some work in construction, and also it's a pleasure to meet a senior colleague in the field. Thank you so much for the honor to be here with us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's dive in. Usually on the show, when we have couples come, we like to hear their love story. So please take us down memory lane. Let us know how you met, what the spark was, the attraction, and why you decided that this was the person you wanted to settle down with and spend the rest of your life together with.
Okay. We met in Polytechnic Ibadan. That's where we schooled. He was reading architecture. I was reading insurance, and we had a fellowship. That was the common ground. We met in, I think, towards the ending of '93, when the school was in session. I used to see him from a distance, and I would say, that brother is very light-skinned, you understand, and very calm and collected. So, but we didn't actually start speaking until 94. In 94, towards December, I just told him, I said, you ESCOs, you don't visit your people, that I expected him to have visited. But he was of the opinion that I'm not in his group, so there's no need for him to visit me. It's those people in my group that are supposed to visit me. So one of those days, you understand, he visited, but I wasn't around. You understand? And then that was actually the basis of our relationship. You understand? We just talk once in a while. We weren't so close. It was just the fellowship that brought us together. Then that December, he sent a friend of his to find out whether I was engaged or whether there was somebody around me was, you understand? And then that friend discovered that there was somebody around me, and that was an issue. So he didn't press to come and ask any question, because the friend told him that, oh, I want to have time to pray with this person. It's like what she's going through, she needs to come out of it first before you can come. So basically, his friend and his wife, they were cutting then. They prayed along with me, and till I was able to come out of it. It was one brother that was disturbing me. I remember this brother this morning. He was like, I must marry him, and I must say yes. I can't say no, because just it felt as if God was leading him to me, and there was nothing I said. He just kept insisting. He even went to the president, told the president, and because of that, nobody else could come and talk to me, because that was the rule. If a brother is proposing to a sister, no other person should come, because it will cause confusion. You understand? But I gave him my answer, which was what the Lord told me. When he came, when the brother came, but he refused to accept it. He said I should go and pray. That he prayed for 8 months. I just took 3 days. So he was angry, he was livid. So I kept praying. I asked people to pray along with me. So at the end of the day, I was able to convince him to a point. You understand, that he backed off. So eventually, my husband, around the time they were graduating, the ESCOs did a kind of send forth. So his friend and I were asked to decorate the hall. So we went with, while I was going to decorate the hall, a friend of mine was ill. So I was taking care of her. So I couldn't come and assist the way I should. So I eventually had to take my friend and tell them that, see, this is the reason why I didn't come on time. So I was able to do a little decoration, and then we also partook in what they were sharing for the ESCOs. Then I went back with my friend, and then a sister in the fellowship was getting married. So normally what we do in the choir, what we do is that we go and minister at their testimony nights. We call it either night of joy or testimony night. So we'll go there, we'll minister there, and we stay there till the morning. It will be like a night vigil. So the place where we're going was where my friend was living, Oyo. So we went to Oyo. He went as an ESCO, you understand, to support the ESCO member who was getting married. So I also went, taking my friend so that she can, go to her home So after we got to the home, my friend just got better. I think she was just homesick because she got better
Hello,
immediately and we
Kami?
went for. Can you see me?
Okay. Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay. So she got better and then we went for the night of joy. And while we were there, my husband just came. He didn't even say, I love you, I want to marry you, or anything. He just said the Holy Spirit told him some things. I should go and pray about it. That's how spiritual he was. He didn't
Wow.
know much about, talking about, all those kind of this thing. He was very, very spiritual. So I just, immediately as he was talking, I had a kind of peace. I believe it's because of all the brethren that prayed along with me while I had those challenges. It gave me a kind of ease to be able to know. I had a kind of wash over me, and my heart was full of joy. You understand? I knew even before I went to pray that he was the one.
Wow.
I was so confident, but I said, no, I must still pray about it because those were one of the things that we were able to learn in the fellowship. They brought experts in marriage. Couples came, gave their testimonies, things like that. So it helped us to know how to prepare ourselves for such an occasion. So for I prayed and fasted for about 3 days, and then received some specific word from the Lord concerning the relationship. So by the third day, I was ready to give my answer. I met a brother, and the brother said, 3 days. You don't know, you're supposed to do shakara for the brother now. You just like a month. I said, but I feel led to go and tell this person. So he said, no, go back and pray again. So I went inside, I laid down, and as I was lying down, I felt a beat in my heart like I need to get up and go and give my answer. So I went back to the brother. I said, I don't have any peace. I feel like I need to tell this person. So he prayed with me. And as he prayed, he felt a release. I believe it was for him because God needed to help him understand that God was not that trying to just be cheap. I wanted to do what God was leading me to do. Not knowing that he had actually prayed that God will make it easy for him. That is that I will speedily give him an answer. If I told God 5 days, that within 5 days I should be able to tell him. And truly, that Wednesday, 26th of April, 1995, the fifth day.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
went to give the answer. He had some issues. He will tell you about it. Well, he had some issues in that area, and that was why he told God, let it be just 5 days.
Interesting. Yes, sir.
Yeah, let me start this way, that I got to know God early enough, in my life. When I was 15, I got born again. On the third day, alone inside my room there, I received the Holy Spirit baptism. And I got some people around that were directing me on how to start the journey with God. So that really helped me in a lot of ways. I got to, be able to hear God, you understand, from that particular time. So when it got to the area of marriage and stuff like that, I knew, I prayed, and God showed me the person that I was to marry then and to propose to, let me put it that way. And then I went to meet the lady, proposed to the lady. And before then, I've read a lot of books, on marriage, gone for several seminars. So there is nothing hidden when it gets to that, terrain, for me, because I've been taught to prepare ahead of time. You understand? In anything, I would have, gone to make a lot of preparation on that. So I went to propose to the lady, and she said, okay, a serious sister to spiritual sister. All of us were in fellowship at that particular time. I proposed, and then she said she would pray that, about the whole thing. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. I said, God, why would it take some? Because I didn't know how God speaks to me within a short time. You understand, I'll be able to make decisions and the rest like that. When I at a particular time, I was pissed off with me. I said, okay, let me go to this sister's room to you understand, inquire what is happening. Months just to receive from God on this simple matter. Lo and behold, as I entered the room, I saw her and a very close brother that we are in fellowship together in a position that I don't like, feeding each other. And I said, wow, it cannot be. So I was seriously disappointed, not only disappointed in the situation, I was disappointed in God. That God, why will you lead me, you understand, to this person, and this person is somebody that is engaged in, this type of things and things like so. I was very, very disturbed. And I said, God, I told God, I said, I will not marry again in life. And that's one thing about me. When I make up my mind, that is it. Even up till now, you understand, though God is helping me gradually now. When I make decision that this is the way I'm going, that is it. Because I was brought up, that way. So I said, Kai, I will not marry again. Because I knew within myself that God actually directed me to that sister. Then how will it now turn out to be a negative thing? So a lot of brothers came around, encouraged me. So after some, I think maybe a week or a brother just called me that, oh, let's go to fellowship together. There's a program that is, they are organized. Okay, it was a brother's birthday. He now invited somebody, and the person now started talking about marriage. I was there. I honored the invitation, and then I got there, and then lo and behold, the minister just started speaking word of knowledge. Just said, there's somebody here. You are disappointed at God because of marriage, this and that. You have said you will never marry again, but I'm here to tell you, as if somebody went to tell him. Said, God is telling me to tell you that it will surprise you, that even today, you understand that God will do something. You can't close your mind to God. You are not seeing the whole whatever. I say, God, this man just, and he's somebody that I respected. You understand? Since the man that, that gave that prophecy, let me put it that way. So I went back home, confused, laid on the bed, and was praying that God, how will this happen? And he's even saying today, and immediately I just felt a little bit dizzy, and I put my head on the pillow, and lo and behold, I saw the sister coming in a vision, open vision. Lo and behold, she was the one. I said, oh, this is too soon. This cannot be God. This cannot. I said, okay, fine. I will pray on this. I took some time to pray. I didn't go immediately because of what happened before. Let me pray more to really, really be sure. But that was that even up to now, the way God speaks to me, sometimes open vision, sometimes inner witness, and that stuff. So after some time, I just okay, let me give it a trial. So myself and my best friend, he said, okay, since we are going, he had gone to do some background work. He knew that he'll be traveling to that for you. Look at it that this is an opportunity for me to propose. You understand? So I just proposed to her, and lo and behold, third day he just came and said yes. It was so I was surprised. So God can answer, in this simple way. So that's our story, and that's how we started our relationship. And we cut it for about 4 years. We cut it 4 years, before we
And you've been married 24 years, right?
Yes, we cut it for 4 years.
Wow, interesting. Now, this story is so interesting. A few things come to mind as you were telling your story. One is the place of mentorship, that you didn't go on this journey alone. You ensured that you had mentors and all. Because I find that a lot of single people these days are saying, please, we don't need people to tell us. we know how we feel, we know what we want and all that. But there's always, the book of wisdom says that in the multitude of counsel, there's safety. So from your story, I see a lot of mentorship, a lot of guidance coming in. And then you spoke about reading and learning. Now, in my experience, because the work we do is not necessarily specific to Christianity, we work with anybody who is willing to come in and do their work. Now, but I've noticed this specifically with our Christian brothers, that a lot of us tend to feel like because we have favor with God, we are connected with God, that we should be able to escape some things without doing due diligence in the place of learning and study. But from your story, you said you learned, you went for seminars, you read books. So by the time you were coming into marriage, you were coming in armed, you had tools, you already knew what to do when certain things come up, where to go, how to seek help, you know. So you didn't come into marriage expecting that because we love each other, everything will just work out itself and all. And I think that's a very huge lesson for young people across board, that we should learn that everything in life has a way it works. There are principles around it. Nobody becomes a medical doctor because he's called. Yes, the calling is important and vital because we all need to find our purpose, find our place where God has fixed us to be and to explore. But we also need to learn so that when we get there, we are we are workmen that are experts with our tools. We know how to utilize the tools there to do effective work and bring the glory back to him and all. So that's something else that I learned, and it's so powerful. Now, the other thing is the place of spirituality in your whole relationship. And how you, because of who you are, because of your faith, you made sure that it is a central part of the decisions you made and of your relationship as a whole, how you even went about it. I sometimes wonder why people will be in an organization and commit that they are in the organization, but they do not want to follow the rules that God that's setting. So because you asked, you found out according to the fellowship where you were, it was not right for two brothers to go out with a particular sister or to begin to ask a sister out because they didn't want enmity to brood within the camp. They needed to keep the love and connection that is existent already. And I see how you followed it. So despite you were interested, you were willing to wait until that other issue was cleared up, and then the both of you could now have a relationship that was clean, that you could present anywhere. You didn't have to hide. You didn't have to run around and do some things at the background because you don't want people to know. I think that's huge. In our society, many of the things we even suffer, even in our country as a nation, is because we break rules. We do not regard or respect the code of honor that binds us together as a country, as a people, in organizations where we find ourselves and all. So that was really instructive for me, that despite how you felt, because your feelings are subject to you and you are not a slave to your feelings, you were able to wait. You were able to say, you know what, let's wait, let's give her time to clear up that issue. And then I can now make my move, even though you knew God was leading you. And so for me, that was massive. That was massive. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Already we're learning so much from the both of you.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So when we spoke earlier, you mentioned that you had one child, and I'm curious, did you plan to have one child, or did something happen that you ended up having one child?
Let me allow you to talk.
Okay,
Yeah.
we didn't plan to have one child. He wanted 3 children. I wanted 5.
Wow.
You understand? Our middle ground was full. You
Mm.
understand? So as we um entered into, because it was during courtship we discussed on that. So as we entered into marriage, one of the things we didn't really know much about was I didn't know. As a woman, I should have known, you know, how um, the symptoms of pregnancy, because I lost 2 miscarriages, you
Wow.
understand? So when I got pregnant for the 3rd time, my husband insisted I wasn't going to go outside Kaduna. And I was looking for a job, you understand? There was this particular, what do you call it, interview that came, and it was from Lagos, though the work will be in Kaduna, but the main office was in Lagos. So I was to do interview in Lagos, say, you're not going anywhere. We have been waiting, you know. And then another thing we did is like God had us. We said we were going to wait a year because our courtship was correspondence. You understand? He was in Kaduna, I was in Lagos. We knew we were going to come to Kaduna eventually. You understand? But it was on correspondence. So we wanted to have 1 year that we would actually live together, because all we were doing was, it was on paper, you understand? So we wanted something that we will actually have the experience, and then from there learn to merge together as one, as we ought to be. So eventually when we started, I didn't know I took him, you understand? So I just lost those two and said, you're not going anywhere. Because exactly a year from after we wedded was when I took him. I took him in May. You understand? So it was like God really actually had us. You understand? When we said we wait a year. You understand? So when we now had my son, almost immediately, after winning him, I took him again. So it was like my breastfeeding was like my family planning. I took in again. So it was like, this is too sudden. This is not how we wanted it to be. The child should have grown a bit before we have another child. You understand? So eventually that didn't go well. You understand? Then there was this riot in Kaduna that made me not to go to the hospital back. So by the time the curfew will be over, to go back to the hospital, only for them to say, it's stillbirth, the child is already, you understand? So the following year, that one was fear. The following year, I took in again in January. I know in March. I took in again in March, and it was fear actually. I was afraid because I just lost a child. I was so afraid. You understand? So many things didn't calm my fears. That's the area of the finances I was talking about, because we're just trying to, you know, put ourselves together. You understand? So it was like, how do we cope? How do we handle these issues? And eventually I lost that one
Wow.
majorly because yeah. So that was actually what happened.
Wow. Wow. And then you didn't try after that?
We've tried, I've gone to hospital and things like that. But what actually helped us throughout this thing was we had support system. We have a pastor in New Covenant Church, Kaduna. Is the set man in Kaduna. He and his wife, they did a tremendous job. They kept, encouraging us, praying for us, giving us, things that we would see that this is God helping us to come out of this issue. You understand? And also, there were scriptures, you understand, that they gave to us that we kept on looking at. Those scriptures helped us to sort of like fortify our hearts against, how would I put it, fear, heartbreak, and all those things that comes after you have lost, you understand, a child. People around us who were Christians encouraged us with their testimonies, with their own experiences and things like that. And that was how we were able to come out of it. But the major thing that made us come out, made me, because he was strong. You understand? He knows how to, encourage himself and just move on. I'm not like that. It takes me time. So the hurt, you understand that how on my watch did I lose these children? What were the issues? Was it for my family? There are things that will go through your mind. Is it my negligence? Is it what did I do wrong? How did this happen? That's why I was able to recognize that it was actually fair. You understand? And then we actually came across a Bible school, Rema. And in Rema, we learned that it's not only to know the scripture, but it's also to be able to appropriate the scripture into your heart. You understand? Actually declaring the word that the Lord has spoken over you already. Like we know that the Bible says that Christ has redeemed us from the curse of the law. And so I was able to see it that I'm no longer cursed because I've been redeemed. I need to see myself as a redeemed child. And therefore, I cannot experience what unbelievers are experiencing. You understand? I needed to see myself as, having the promises of Abraham because I'm a seed of Abraham. All those things gave me, victory. You understand? Gave me victory. It was not about going to hospital majorly. You will do that one, you understand? But the major thing is that if your heart is not in the right place, you will still be meeting the same thing. So you need to overcome in your heart first. Then you have the freedom. Like now, my womb is open and free. You understand? And I know my children are on the way.
Wow, fantastic. This story is so inspiring, coming out of hurt and all. And we would like to hear you, sir, hear your own perspective. And I have some questions already that I'm thinking of asking. But before we do that, we'll go on a short break. We'll take some commercial, and then we'll come back and continue from here.
It's coming, we're coming, it's coming. One house, brave housemates. 72 hours of history. Triggers of fun. 72 hours of history. Get ready, I'm ready. 72 hours of history.
It's one house, 12 housemates, full of fun, excitement, and razzmatazz. Are you ready? Lagos, are you ready?
It's coming, we're coming. It's coming, we're coming.
Let's go!
72 hours of history.
Introducing PANACEA VILLE, where love thrives and relationships flourish. Are you ready to embark on a journey of love and fulfillment? Our comprehensive programs are designed to help engaged and married couples build and maintain healthy relationships in their first decade. With our expert guidance, you'll learn the art of understanding and proper conflict management, creating emotional safety and deepening intimacy in your relationship. Join our group couple coaching, limited to 5 couples per group, where you'll learn practical conflict management tools and work through disagreements with ease. Discover the joy of a thriving relationship as you heal attachment injuries and enhance trust together. For couples at a crossroads, our intervention coaching program is the answer. We'll help you identify and tackle challenges at their roots, rekindling lost love repairing past hurts, and creating a peaceful and stable future. Before you walk down the aisle, equip yourself with the knowledge for a successful marriage through our Before the Aisle course. Unlearn old patterns, develop practical money management skills, and foster an intimate, fulfilling bond. As a bonus, you'll be part of a supportive community with access to materials and continuous growth support. Choose PANACEA VILLE today and unlock the secrets to a happy and lasting relationship. Remember, a fulfilling marriage is within reach for those willing to unlearn, learn, and relearn.
One family at a time.
Of asking, but before we do that, interesting conversation with Reverend and Reverend Mrs. Ajibade. They have been sharing their story, the challenge. Right. All right. Good evening. It's another pleasure, another opportunity to be with you on Rings That Bind. We do this every Thursday.
In fact, the last one, and the rest, I cried like a baby. So our pastor then, Pastor Yemi, came to console me, not console me. I was weeping like a baby. I will even say for the first time, the only place where I cry is in the presence of God. When I'm in the presence of God, I can cry, tears comes out and the rest like that. But for you to see tears on my eyes outside for no reason, you can't find the tears on my my face. So, but when I got there that day, it was very, very painful. He could not console me. That's our pastor then. He had to call to our national overseer to talk to me so that so we called, and then I just breezed up and said, okay, fine. And inside me that time, I said, well, even if it is one, that because we had one already at that time, I said, I'm okay, God, I'm satisfied. And that is it. I just braced up and then I faced life. So, and then as time goes, she is more, demanding that, okay, let us go to hospital, we went for different, checkups. They say we are okay, you understand? And to me, I just look at it that, well, it's not a matter of having thousands of children. If it's one and the blessing of God is on it, that's on him, that's all. So at a particular time, I just zeroed my mind. And I want to believe that possibly because we are not on the same page, even up to now on that, you understand? That's why we have another one. Because when the child was, I think maybe 12 or thereabout, 12 or 13, you understand? Because it's 2022 now, you understand? I just look at the whole thing. I said, why do I need any other child? This one is okay for me. And I prayed before God. I said, see, God, just keep this for me. I cannot keep this child. I'm giving the absolutely, totally, because I can't even take care of this. And that gave me peace, gave me rest. And in fact, it's outside the country now schooling. I didn't bother myself. I know I've given this child to God because I cannot take care of this child. And that gave me some kind of peace. And more so, I'm such a person that is very busy from one side to one spiritual program to the other. So it even gave me more time to be able to do several other things. So personally, I'm okay with God on that. As long as that one, the blessing of God is on him, he can now have maybe 20, 30. Fine and good. Me, I'm okay. But up to now, to still say, we need to still get. I said, I'm 54. Yeah, yeah, 50 next year. I'm okay. What am I looking for? One is enough. I'm okay. So that's the stage as we have presently.
He's just saying it's okay. I'm okay.
And then I think it's perfectly okay. In fact, I even appreciate the fact that you are able to share that sometimes we would have these kinds of disagreements where we don't completely agree, but it's okay, and our relationship is still thriving despite we don't agree on certain things. Ma, my prayers are with you. May God answer your prayers, sir. I'm not taking sides, but yeah, I'm not taking sides. But then I don't know, maybe because I'm a woman, so I really okay. But you said something earlier, Ma, when you were talking about you getting married. You mentioned that you agreed to stay a year before having children because you wanted to connect better, to get to know each other deeper and all. And I think that is a vital point, because a lot of times people just get married and then they start going through the rigors of having a child. I've seen this with people that come for counseling and how it like